Hello everyone, Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central. Well, me and my shadow you can see here, and all of my files and papers that we're getting ready to be doing some tutoring behind me at the big table today. The video, however, is about 8 tips to ace your essay. And this isn't a comprehensive, detailed uh, video about everything you should do, but these are, I tried to bring it down to be more concise and just have 8 tips to get you started, or more or less as a checklist to go back and make sure that you've covered all of these specifics when you're writing your essay. So I hope you find these very helpful. You can let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, you can do that as well if you're watching on YouTube, or you can shoot me an email. The website link is everywhere, so you can check that out and send me an email as well. I always like to hear from learners and students and pretty much anybody actually. Just before we head into the 8 tips, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, that helps the channel a lot. There's ways to donate to the channel. You can check in the description for that as well. And as I say, there'll be other links down there too. So let's get started with the 8 tips so that your essay writing can improve, or you may ace that essay yet. First of all, you need to understand the assignment. Now that sounds obvious. It sounds, well, of course, but it's surprising how many students start working on an essay or any other assignment for that matter, and they haven't really carefully read and understood the essay prompt or the assignment instructions. You want to identify key requirements such as the topic, the length, the formatting guidelines, and the deadline. So sometimes teachers have specific ways in which they want it formatted, so it's not always um, okay just to go with the MLA or the APA. You may need to, or you should always know what the teacher wants specifically. If they don't specify, then of course you would use the MLA generally for humanities or arts and the APA method for the sciences. But always good to check with the teacher. And how long should it be? How many, is there a word count? Is there a number of pages? Is there a limit? Some teachers or professors will only read up to the point that they said. So if they said 6 pages and you wrote 8, they're only reading the first 6. So your whole conclusion will be missed. Same with word count. So you just want to make sure that you know this and you know the deadline. And don't just plan for the deadline. Obviously, back up and plan when you're going to do the research, when you're going to do the rough drafts, etc. Then research thoroughly. Now, this will vary depending on what kind of essay it is. If it's a personal essay, there might be very little research, but in many cases, it won't be a personal essay. So you should do your research. Use credible sources. Aim for primary sources rather than secondary sources, for example. Often, secondary sources can lead you to primary sources, though, if you check where they got their information or data from, you can get to the primary sources. So obviously, you can use books, you can use academic journals, and reputable websites. You just want to make sure that they are reputable because there is so much online, which is fantastic, and there's so much online which frankly is garbage. So you want to make sure that you check the sources. Where is this information coming from? Take notes and gather evidence to support your argument. So you want to make sure that you're researching for your specific purpose and taking notes, and also noting where you got the information from in case you want to come back to it. So some of it you'll be using and some of it you won't, but you may not know that ahead of time. So you should note where this information is coming from so that you can quickly find it again, and you will need that information anyway for your works cited. Before you start writing, you want to create an outline or plan for your essay. You want to organize your thoughts and ideas logically and structure your essay with an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. And remember, the number of body paragraphs will be determined by the length of your essay. Um, so you want to do this, and during your plan, this is time that you can generate working topic sentences. And by working topic sentences, I mean they might change, but this gives you something to start with. And the topic sentences are the first sentences of your body or your supporting paragraphs. And having the topic sentence planned ahead, you know at least basically what each paragraph is going to be about, and you can zero in and focus on that and avoid rambling. So you do this before you write your thesis statement, in other words, your topic sentences. And then once you have, let's say you're doing a 5-paragraph essay, that's taught a lot in secondary schools in this area, but it doesn't matter really the size. But if you're doing a 5-paragraph essay, you'll have 3 body paragraphs. Each one has its own topic sentence. You've created working topic sentences or tentative topic sentences. You can now use that information to generate or create your thesis statement. And again, this may be a tentative thesis statement. It may be changed, but it will probably only be tweaked or altered a little bit if you've done your work carefully. And so you can use the points from those sentences. It makes writing your thesis statement a lot easier. And when you have your thesis statement, that's like a major topic sentence for the whole essay. And it really does help the reader to understand your essay, but it helps you to write it as well, because now you've got some great focus. You've got the overall thesis statement, and then you've got 3 good potential topic sentences to focus on while you're writing. I mentioned organizing your paper a little bit earlier, but you want to remember these tips or these points, they're not exclusive in chronological order. So once you have your plan, it's a good idea to write the body paragraphs before the introductory paragraph. And the reason I say this is similar to writing your topic sentences or potential topic sentences before you do your thesis statement, because once you have your body paragraphs, you'll know everything that you're going to be arguing and all of your supports, and that will make it easier to write the introductory paragraph. Often people think they have to start with the introduction, then move to the body, then move to the conclusion, but that's not really true. You can start with the body and then go back to the introductory paragraph, and now you really know what the paper's all about, so you can introduce it properly. So because you've already presented your facts and your examples and drawn conclusions, so you know what you should put in the intro, and you want to start the introduction fairly broadly and narrow that down to your thesis statement, usually as the last sentence of that first paragraph. And all that information that you've already researched and you've already written into your body paragraph will make writing your introductory paragraph much, much easier. Use clear and concise sentences. This is very important. A lot of people think they have to use very complex or complicated language, and that's completely wrong. The opposite is true. Anyone should be able to read your paper and understand at least basically what you're saying. And if it's your teacher or your professor, they want to know that you understand the material well enough to explain it clearly. So that's much more important than being complicated or complex. Try to use active sentences over passive sentence. The occasional passive sentence is fine, but generally lean toward active sentences. And also, it doesn't hurt to define unfamiliar terms or terms that could be unfamiliar. Always make sure that you explain those. And keep in mind the reader. You want them to be able to read your paper and understand it on a first read through. And if it is for school, your teacher, your instructor, your professor will thank you very much. Provide evidence and examples. So you want to support your arguments with relevant evidence and examples. And relevant is an important word here, because I have read papers in which there's some very good primary evidence. However, it doesn't match up with what the student is trying to prove. So you want to make sure that what you're using is relevant to your point or to your argument. And you can use quotations, you can use statistics, real life examples, interviews, all of these things to strengthen your points and provide credibility to your arguments. But remember, if they're not relevant, they don't provide credibility to your argument. Proofread and edit. This is so important. So many students skip this stage, and don't think it's very important because I've been so careful all the way through writing my paper. I don't really need to go back and reread it and rework anything, but that is a huge mistake. You might be very surprised at some of the mistakes you find while you're reading through the paper. Uh, but also, even if you don't find major technical mistakes, you want to review your paper, make sure that it's clear, and make sure that it's coherent. Remember, we're thinking of the readers and we're helping them to understand your paper. You want to make sure that your arguments are consistent, that everything relates back to your thesis statement, and that within paragraphs, the points that you're making relate to your topic sentence. And if they don't, either your topic sentence might need to be altered a little bit or something needs to be changed within the body of the paragraph. Of course, you check for grammatical mistakes, punctuation mistakes, spelling errors, those sorts of things as well. But it's more than that. A proofread and edit should be for the technical mistakes, but then also for the overall paper. And it's good to go through this process more than once to make sure that you've captured everything that you need to change in your paper. Follow formatting guidelines. Now, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but you want to make sure that your essay follows the required formatting guidelines, and this can include things like font size, margins, spacing, and citation style. And I mentioned generally MLA is for humanities and APA for the sciences, but often an instructor, teacher, or professor will have specific guidelines that they want you to use, and they take precedence. So always make sure you pay attention, whether they give you a handout or whether they just tell you in class. Make a note of it so that you know which guidelines you should be following. If they don't specify, then probably you will be using the MLA for arts or humanities courses and the APA for the sciences, but you can always ask the instructor to confirm this as well. It's a very good idea to know uh, all of this information ahead of time. There we are, 8 tips that should help you get started with your essay writing, or you can use as a checklist. Understand the assignment. Research thoroughly. Remember, the research can happen throughout. Most of these can happen throughout. It's not number 1, number 2, number 3. Plan your essay. Organize your paper. Use clear and concise sentences. Provide evidence and examples. Provide relevant evidence and examples, remember. Proofread and edit. Don't skip that step. And follow formatting guidelines. So I think these are 8 solid tips to help you out in your essay writing. If you want more help, remember I give personalized lessons. I also have an essay writing course on Udemy, as well as paragraph writing and basic English writing, several courses on Udemy. So you can check those out on the website, or you can shoot me an email and I'll give you more information. If you're interested in personalized lessons, again, email me and I'll give you more information about that. And I offer a free information meeting if you're interested as well. In the meantime, just hit that subscribe button. That helps the channel a lot. Check in the description below for other links to help the channel or to help yourself. And keep learning, keep having fun. It's Ron from L.T.L Tutoring Central. Until next time, happy writing. Bye-bye for now.